Claire, let's start, if we can, just with a little retrospective look back at yesterday. What was your sense of the Prime Minister's apology? He didn't, of course, say sorry himself, rather apologising for what may have gone on, and the reaction that you've seen over the last 24 hours or so.
He looks suitably shaken, and it doesn't matter whether you think that that's because he felt that his political career's on the line, it could be all over. But it certainly wasn't a jolly hockey sticks performance, and it might have been carefully worded. He's presumably been getting some advice by lawyers about what he can and can't say. But a lot of people feel that carrying on saying you've got to apologise more sincerely can end up being a bit counterproductive, because actually it's gained a certain amount of sympathy with him. I say that rather nervously, because I think, generally speaking, people are furious and upset. Over the weekend, when Dominic Cummings, was kind of talking about parties, most of the people I spoke to, not political people necessarily, were like, oh, not more party stuff. But actually, when you saw what it was and the emails, I think people then did think, right, this really is making a mockery of us. It was a particular...
I think it was also the thing that he'd spent before Christmas saying that there were essentially no parties that he was aware of. And then it turned out not only was there a party, but there was one that he was actually...
But it was also that email, I don't want to rehearse it all. So I do think that the thing is not the parties, but people feeling that they've been taken for mugs. People then start thinking, well, what were we doing then? If they weren't scared, why were they scaring us? I mean, if the virus was so frightening, why would you all gather together? And then say to us that if you did that would be, and so on and so forth. One of the most damaging things, of course, has been we've got a date for the party. And as you know, one of the tactics or strategies or what have you is people coming forward saying, on that very date, I was at a funeral. On that very date, my brother died.
Or I wasn't at a funeral because I couldn't go.
No, but I was at a funeral where I saw somebody at the funeral of their child, and they weren't able to console the person whose child had, they weren't able to console the parents. So people have got these very vivid memories of the horrors of what lockdown meant. And I know I just was watching the programme before us and that interview with David Frost, and I think that one of the things is that where people are starting to say, it's in a way what this story has done is it's reminded people what it was like. And I think a lot of people had wanted to say, can we not go over how awful it was the last 2 years? This has brought back some terrible memories, and the positive thing I hope will come out of it, people will think long and hard before saying these are the kind of measures we need to implement again, which is what Lord Frost said, actually.
I was fascinated with Lord Frost also kind of alluded to, now this wasn't specifically in relation to parties, but was that because everyone was going into the office in Downing Street, when almost everyone else in the country wasn't, that things probably felt quite familiar.
Yeah.
As in, things didn't seem that extraordinary. Now, he said that's why maybe the government was so easy to impose restrictions, but also maybe why they felt it was easier to have parties.